Welcome to a brand new episode of Snobcast.
Oh,
that was well put.
Yeah, I'm really happy that we're back.
And Hype Man Steve is back after a brief absence.
I know. We thought you were dead.
We thought you were dead.
Well, legally, I mean, you're not wrong.
He missed his flight back from Cairo.
And that makes sense. I actually saw a Qatar plane fly by me today. So
Really?
yeah,
That's exciting.
Did you? Was there somebody like parasailing behind it on a tether?
Tom Cruise. It was Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah, carrying Steve.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a nightmare.
Good to have you back because in 3 years of doing this podcast, you have never missed an episode, and because of the diarrhea, you had to miss it.
He was playing sharts or farts.
Yeah.
I know it kind of only cheese should be moldy, but
okay,
you try.
Okay, right? And that's where everybody checks out.
Yeah. Welcome to Snobcast, everyone. This is episode 315, and very excited today. We won't waste any more time because we've got a really cool guest and yet another filmmaker. After last week's guest, we have another filmmaker, Jonathan Kaufman.
Look at us.
He has a hilarious film out right now called Donny's Bar Mitzvah. I know Tom watched it last night.
I want to watch it again.
And he's like, he texted me like right after. He's like, dude, I don't know what just happened, but it's like I think I pissed all over my apartment. I'm like, all right, cool. So that's awesome. So we'll talk about that with Jonathan. And without further ado, please give a warm snob welcome to Jonathan Kaufman, aka Jonny Comebacks. So.
Thanks for having me, Tom. If you need me to send you some paper towels and cleaning,
my god,
I would hate for you to have to every day smell your own piss.
Oh my god, it's soaked into the carpet.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Listen, I only go as far as to paper towel. I'm not going to.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No.
The deep cleaning. All right, you can get the pencil.
John, thanks so much for being here. This is really cool. I saw the film a few weeks ago and I was like, shit. I'm like, I need to see if I can reach out to anyone from that crew and see if we can get you on the show because we're avid movie lovers here and we love to push the smaller films especially. And I think that everyone should see this movie because it's fucking hilarious.
Oh my god.
So
I was like teleported back to 2002.
It's
like it feels like one of those perfect comedies, like those. It was
a time when they really nailed them.
Yeah, my first thought after I watched the film was I said this is like a movie that should have been made like in the early 2000s and like regardless of the time period in the film, which is the 80s, but like I feel like it would have been made in the 2000s when all those like raunchy comedies were coming out.
I loved it.
And I'm just like this is a crazy offensive movie. And it's great. I loved it. It was no PC. No one gives a shit in that movie, literally. So congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
You must have
it's always great to hear, people loving the film because it's a type of film that you get like both sides of the spectrum. You'll get people being like, I loved it. I pissed all over my apartment. And then you'll get people being like, we need to lynch Jonathan Kaufman.
Oh my god!
A video camera again. So you get both ends of the spectrum. So it's great talking both.
Showing how effective it was, really.
You also have to feel like the people that are on the side of the spectrum that want to lynch you.
Those guys.
Yeah, like those people, like. What are you going in like you're watching the movie, like you're watching the first 10 minutes of the movie? What do you think? You think it's gonna turn into like a lesbian period piece? Like, well, you gotta go with it. You gotta.
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah, I might because some of the things that happen in the movie I didn't see coming, like the pregnancy over like the 70. How long was the movie? What was the runtime?
78 minutes or something.
I've never seen a pregnancy happen that fast. that was fantastic.
That's the great part about it. And you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's just Steve that's missing again. Or
What?
is he there?
He's
Steve
there.
All right, so I guess it's just me and my internet.
Yeah.
As long as Jonny Comebacks is here, I don't care. So I mean, I'm curious to know about the whole like process of the film. So like how did the idea come about, first of all?
So I had an idea. It was more of like for a short film in high school, and and it was just like the idea of like a rated R, super raunchy, super just relentless idea for a movie for a bar mitzvah, because there's so much opportunity, and I've been to so many bar mitzvahs, and I've just never seen a crazy bar mitzvah movie, and I thought that it was such like a void. So I was like kind of developing this idea, and then after school I moved to New York, and a little bit after college I started writing it like gradually, piece by piece. And then one day, like, I read the script after so long not reading it. I read it and I was laughing out loud while reading it. I'm like, I need to make this project. This needs to be a reality. So I basically started really diving deep, being like, how can I actually make this a reality? How can I make this on a low budget that would be plausible for me to film? So I basically, originally it was just a bar mitzvah film. And then I rewrote the entire thing to make it that mockumentary format, that 1998 videographer style. So I would be able to cut down on costs. And on top of that, it also like was a blessing in disguise because it created the entire vibe of the film. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it makes it kind of very unique and different, and also gave like so many aesthetic liberties for me to use, like with the pretending like the entire video was edited by a video toaster. But yeah, I knew that it was a low budget film, and like there's thousands of low budget films made a year, and many of them just don't get talked about. They get swept under the rug. A lot of hard work goes into them, and then nobody sees them. So I just really much like, I'm going to throw everything I can at this. And I know that some people are going to hate it. I know some people are going to love it. But the whole point was like, I was just trying to do something that I knew would make some noise, you know, that I knew that at least like whether you hated it or loved it, people would, you know, be wanting to at least talk about it. So, and yeah, that's basically how the project came into fruition. I really, like you guys were saying, it was very much inspired by like the early 90s or late 90s, early 2000s comedy. Like obviously it's supposed to be kind of like that, but also just like thematically, I love those hard-hitting comedies. I love those comedies that like weren't allowed to, that weren't afraid, because they didn't need to be afraid to like go for the big laughs, go for the raunchy, go for like the politically incorrect, not afraid to kind of throw shade on everybody in the name of comedy, but not in the name of, you know, actually degrading people, just in the name of good fun. And I just, you know, some people, like you said, look at this and are hoping that maybe it's going to be like turn into some political statement, but in the end of the day, it's all just for laughs. And, you know, some people loved it, some people hated it, some people pissed in toilets, some people pissed in the rooms, you know?
Oh.
How long did it take to how long did you shoot the entire thing?
The entire thing was shot over 17 days.
That's nuts.
Wow.
And it's pretty much set in the same, well, it is set in the same space.
More or less, yeah. I tried to write it all in one space. There's like one or two locations that were not in that one room, you know, like the outdoor scene and like the back area, but more or less the entire scene, the entire film was in that one location.
And I mean, was that shot in New York?
I was actually shot in Burbank in we built that room from scratch.
Awesome.
Because every other event space was like, we get events every weekend and it's like $30,000 a weekend. I'm like, dude, this is indie filmmaking. I can't do that, right?
Yeah.
So we struck a deal with this production like studio space that if we rent their equipment and also use space, you know, we were able to literally just build 4 walls and fill it just to make it look like a bar mitzvah space, and it worked. And like we just shot it in like a way that we kind of built out areas of each room to make the room feel a lot bigger than it was. Because if you take a wide picture of the room, you'll see like it was actually tiny. It was a tiny little space.
Yeah, you make it look huge. I mean, like it looks like a venue, just like a like a wedding reception hall or whatever. It may be, you know?
I especially love the coat room, like where all that just brought me. I feel like that would bring a lot of people back. Just like I remember being a kid going to like receptions, like whatever weddings, and
you want the old guy in there.
No. Oh my god! First of all, I never saw an old guy in there. Like that was the first time that I saw that guy like chaperoning what was going on in there, and I don't know if he was chaperoning, if it was like a voyeur thing, but it was super funny, especially when like the kids were getting made fun of, and he's just laughing with them, and I'm like, this is great.
The cast. I have to talk about the cast because. Are these people that you knew already, or did you have to go and do a casting call type thing?
We did a full casting call, basically. So it's funny. I say that the version of the film that you saw is a toned down version of the film. All right.
Really?
So it was originally a lot of jokes in the script that like I took out because it was even more pushing the boundaries of like political incorrectness towards everybody. So, and I was getting basically a lot of passes from casting directors. And I knew that I had a very, very large ensemble cast and I needed to cast a lot of people. And then basically I took out some of the jokes and I reached out to some new people, which looking back, I probably could have kept them in for the two women that said yes, who loved the script like crazy, named Sherwood and Doro. But they helped me out with casting, and like over the course of 2 weeks, I must have seen like 1,000 different people cast come in. Because there's like I would say like at least 500 because there's 19 different speaking roles, and I must have seen like between maybe like 20 for each, up to 50 for each. Like it varied, but yeah, I casted every single person, so many auditions, and like because my whole philosophy of going into it was I wrote a bunch of really funny stuff that I thought was funny, but I wanted like the people that were part of the film to not just like read my lines. I wanted them to like be the character. All right. I wanted them to be the character on set and 100% just own it because I was so open to improv and I always am. And I wanted them to say stuff that was way funnier than the stuff that I wrote. So there was every time what we would do on set is we would kind of film first the way that I wrote it, and then I would completely open it up to improv and let the actor just kind of like have fun with each other, spitball. And honestly, some of the best moments of the film and what I think are like the funniest jokes are completely improv, just the characters just completely getting like into character. Like, I mean, you know Gary from the film, the kind of like the adult whose wife hates him.
Yeah.
He took it to the next level with improv. Like every line that came out of his mouth was not something I wrote.
Oh my god! just to see when he's trying to kiss his wife, and she's just moving away. I'm like, no,
there's so much.
Gotta let him plant one.
So much extra footage of him just like going on like monologues and rants and just like amazing thing. I actually just for the DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, they asked me to do director commentary. Okay. But I didn't want to do director commentary. I thought that's like kind of lame. So instead I had Gary and Susie watch the film down in character as if they're watching the Donny's bar mitzvah for the first time that the Donny's parents sent them. And it's hilarious.
Oh, that's really
watching down in character.
Hilarious.
And like, it's funny because every time there's like a scene that's like about to come up with like Cheryl and Susie and Bobby, getting into it. Yeah. Susie would be like, "Oh, Gary, can you get me a drink?" She'd like leave the room.
I need to ask. I mean, how do you go and get Danny Trejo?
Listen, Danny Trejo he's a gun for hire. He's a gun for hire, meaning like he can be in anything. I reached out to his team, and he was down. He was down to do the project for half a day. And honestly, when he got on set, he seemed like very relieved almost that. I mean, he's such a typecast, actor that he's literally does the same thing basically over and over and over again. And he was very excited to be part of something that was so different than the standard shit that he's part of, like it was like he was like, I love the script. It's hilarious. And like so much other stuff in the film, there's a lot of stuff that ended up on the cutting room floor, but we had him do a lot more stuff and say a lot more stuff that didn't end up in the film, but it is what it is.
He's hilarious. When I saw him come up, I was like, this is fucking incredible.
I wasn't expecting it.
How does this even happen? I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I'm curious to know about, so you use a lot of younger actors, and a lot of the younger actors do a lot of the, offensive talking and, all that shit. And I mean, do you get slack from parents, like their parents? Be like, oh, you're making my kid do this or say this or wear a cap with a dildo or.
Oh my god.
Well, okay, so here's I've gotten that question before. So the reality is, while there's a lot of improv that goes on, and a lot of the improv is like, moments and dialogue or gestures or whatever it is, but in the end of the day, like the scenes that were written are the scenes. It's not like complete scenes are being improv. So everything that was in the script, the parents obviously read and approved of before. So there was nothing too shocking. So all the kids that were part of the film, like they knew what they were getting into and the parents were excited about it. I don't think that they realized how raunchy the film was until they actually saw it at the screener. And I'm sure that they were like, oh my God, what did I just sign my kid up for?
How old were the kids on average, like in the movie, the character? You know what I mean? Like they were around 13?
Made sure that all the kids were of age. So all the kids were 12, 13 years old.
Okay, wow.
And it's funny because when I grew up and I was 12, 13, obviously it's a completely different age, late 90s to now. And so much so, like, they don't have like those kind of dances or those, it's not the same vibe. Meaning like when they dance, it's like just jumping and like fist pound, like freak dance or slow dance. So I had to literally teach these 12-year-olds how to grind on each other, and it was the most uncomfortable thing.
Oh my god!
As a set teacher being like, "Oh, too close." I'm like, this is what they signed up for. This is in the script. They need to grind. I'm sorry.
Oh my god!
So like, I tried to really show the awkwardness of grinding and the slow dancing. It was funny teaching the kids that, but. Yeah, in terms of language, they were very happy to use any language that I wrote in the script. They were like, it was.
I've never heard the word finger blasted get thrown around by 12-year-olds so much. It was awesome.
Like I spoke like that as a 12-year-old. Like that. Like we all talk that way when we were 12. Like when you see movies of like 12-year-olds talking like 12-year-olds, we all talk probably more inappropriately then than we do now because So like that was kind of like the like philosophy, like let the words fly because that's how 12-year-olds actually talk,
That was so good. And whoever did the sound design for the dildo hats, whoever was bending the saw, whoever was doing that, it was fucking genius sound design on the.
Me and the sound designer worked heavily through the entire film to get a lot of the noises just perfect. We wanted the perfect level of moisture. A lot of noises on top of each other. You have the wobble, then you have like the wet, sticky noises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my. You know what? I was wondering. First of all, the vomit scene. Now.
Which one?
Oh my god! Dude,
the finale.
There was so many times somebody's just talking and vomit is just leaking out of their mouth. But the last one, the big one, the big vomit scene.
Won't give it away, but yeah.
Won't give it away. First of all, I just want to know how many takes did that take?
I think we did that in 3 takes.
That's insane.
We had a practice run. Where just like. Because I knew that I wanted it to be just so gratuitous, right?
And excessive.
Just an insane amount. I was explaining to the prop master. He's like, okay, I think I know how to do this, right? And we had a practice run outside where it's literally like a big pump that somebody off stage is like pumping, and it's just like going like that. So we did a practice run. I was like, okay, this is perfect. And then we had 3 takes, which Isabel, who played Hannah, was an absolute champ because she had just chunks of this concoction going in her nose, in her mouth, down her shirt.
What's it made out of?
Oatmeal, orange juice,
Yeah.
your things you'd find in your dad's closet. The whole thing, yeah.
Oh God.
But
Oh God.
and like when we were doing it, I knew that I wanted it to be a slow-mo scene and like kind of like break the format of the film a little bit. And I was like toying with like what should it feel like, and then it hit me like I wanted it to be like waves crashing, you know, like beach waves crashing into the face. So then we layered, I don't know if you hear, but we layered like seagull noises. And big waves crashing, like the sound of waves and like in water, you know.
Oh my God. It was, you know what though? It was like, you feel the first one that hits felt like you're like, oh, like it's happening. And then as it just keeps going, you're like what? How long? I could have watched it for 10 minutes. I gotta watch 10 minutes of it.
I'll send you the extended cut.
Yeah. And the extended cut is just 10 minutes of vomit.
Yeah.
But
you can use it as a sound machine to go to sleep.
Oh my God.
Then I wanted to dig into the background a little bit. You said that you've never seen like kind of the crazy bar mitzvah movie. Have you ever been to like a insane off the hook bar mitzvah?
I mean, I've been to many bar mitzvahs. I grew up in a very Jewish community where literally there were 2 to 3 bar mitzvahs that I had every weekend, and I had to like choose whose I'm going to, and like if it was 2 good friends,
that's scandalous.
That's scandalous. This guy's bar mitzvah, and then this guy's bar mitzvah. It was like very much has happened all the time. It was like rinse and repeat almost like of what you do. And the truth is like a lot of these bar mitzvahs, as like kind of like the point of the film is like more adults are at these bar mitzvahs than kids, you know, and there's a bunch of alcohol. And there's a bunch of really nice hors d'oeuvres. It's like, this isn't really for the kids for the most part. You know, it's like, to get as much money from the parents for the kids. You know? But, and then it always, a lot of parties, it's like the adults storm the dance floor during the funky music, and then the kids kind of leave to their own areas. And like you were saying, like, I remember literally going to closets during bar mitzvah parties and playing games and like doing those shenanigans at the party. So the whole thing is like there's 2 different. Have I ever gone to a bar mitzvah that is exactly this film? No. I don't think I'd be alive today.
No.
There's a lot of things that were just inspired by. It's funny because even when I was pitching this film to the investors, and explaining them like what this film was, I could see them all getting excited, and a lot of them started sharing stories to me about the raunchy stuff that they had as adults at bar mitzvahs, about talking about getting like BJs under the table and parents hooking up with this, and like and there's this classic like a parents getting too drunk and can't drive their kids home, and then they need. It's like it's a thing. It's a real thing.
Holy
not
crap.
like
wow.
Obviously this is a satire, but all satire is based off of reality,
Yo, fuck Italian weddings. I want to go to bar mitzvah.
1,000%. Italian weddings are boring as shit.
We're Italian, so we're like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's
Listen,
it's
so
all
much
eating.
better.
Way more
It's
fun.
so much better when it's wrong. It's you shouldn't be getting lit at a 13-year-old's party, but like,
But
isn't it
you
better if
do.
you do? Okay.
Yeah.
I
I say that, but then I get fucked up at like my niece's 7th birthday. So like I don't know.
There you go. You have you've already completed your training. You're ready for the bar mitzvah.
I love how the movie's actually layered with like a few different stories that are happening like simultaneously in the room. It's really cool. It like like there's like a relationship happening here, and there's like these 2, something's going on, but the whole like sting that happens in the movie is great. The party pooper thing is like because there's always a party pooper. There's always a party pooper in there, and it was. I just didn't think that there was actually going to be poop involved. Like I didn't. I didn't that scene when I was watching, I'm like, it's not. I had a feeling what was going to happen after the finger went in, and I'm like, it's not actually gonna. It happened. It happened, and I didn't know what to do with myself. The movie, it's like everything that you were expecting to happen as it was progressing, you kind of saw happen, but you still weren't ready for it because you didn't think it was going to happen. That's what makes the whole movie, I think. I love the experience of the movies. I haven't seen a movie like that in God knows how long.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
You want to hear a little quick set story about that?
I'll do it.
So we needed that scene to be like perfect, like him licking the poop and then smelling it, licking it, and I wanted to take it to the next level while I was there. And there was that little kid in the background that was watching, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted, and it didn't happen because the little kid refused to do it and the mom refused to do it. But anyways, what I wanted for a cut back eventually, just like randomly through the movie, I wanted the kid to take a spoon, dig into it, and put it in his mouth. Just full spoonful. And the kid he refused to do it. And the mom refused to do it. And like the mom was like, he's trying to be a serious actor. And then
my God.
Jeremy, who played Gerald, was like, "Lady, I am a serious actor. I'm licking this stuff off of my fingers,
Like,
but you win some, you lose some. Wow,
that would have been perfect.
A spoonful of food would have been nice though, but we went. You can't win everything.
Maybe in the sequel, who knows?
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for saying that because
no problem, Tom. Anytime.
You just jogged my memory with what I wanted to ask. What so the Buckners
Bruckner's, yeah.
Bruckners. Okay.
Yeah.
What would have happened like the morning after that party? What do you think? What do you envision would have happened the morning after that? Like like everybody had their side story that happened. What's the first move when they all wake up in the morning?
It goes right back to reality. All right, it's just another bar mitzvah because this happens every weekend. This is just another click in the week.
They just don't talk about it.
It's just another click in the week. It's funny because when I was writing this, one of the issues I was having was I had so many ideas for characters because there's infinite possibilities that you could have, and I was just like a matter of choosing which ones to kind of run with. So one idea that I would obviously, it's not even something I'm working on right now, but like if in the future, who knows, but I would love to just do like a mini series of this because it can be expanded. The world of this can be expanded so much more. There's so many fun, ridiculous. I wanted to have like some ideas of characters that fell on the floor that were like in original versions were like the party planner. The party planner that is, and it's a male party planner that spends a lot of time with the mother planning the party. But like in order to be that role and spend a lot of time with the wives, he pretends to be gay so that the husbands don't. And then there's actually a husband during the party that is closeted that is like trying to so that's like a whole storyline. Then there's one character I had was like an Israeli woman at the party, right? It's like this Israeli woman like barely speaks any like English, and like one of like the characters at the party kind of like fall in love with her and like ends up like making out, and like they didn't know, but like it ends up that it's his cousin from Israel.
Oh my God.
It's like you never know who's going to be at the bar mitzvah,
Let's start this petition to like get the Donny bar mitzvahs universe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. We want to see what happened to the photographer.
The Donny cinematic universe.
Yeah, there you go.
the photographer just the
yeah, that's hilarious.
You can't even picture that happening in real life. Everybody's just
when I was casting the photographers, I was literally just like, okay, show me how red you can get.
Holy shit.
So you just have a bunch of people in a room just vibrating until they turn red.
Crushed it, yeah.
Did you go to film school or?
I went to University of Michigan and I studied film and entrepreneurship, and I am a proud dropout.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you're making film, right?
Oh,
Who
that
the
was a
fuck cares?
perfect sound effect when you did that, by the way. Whoever's phone just went off, that was perfect.
I don't know. So, I mean, for you, did you always want to be a filmmaker or like more like a
100%. Like
Okay.
film has been like a passion of mine for my entire life. I've been playing with cameras my entire life, and on top of that, always comedy. Like I'm very obviously I love other forms of film, and there's other things I've written that is not comedy, but like I like comedy the most because I think that there's like no bigger pleasure than like having an audience of erupting laughter. Like there's
100%.
nothing like better than that. And like when you quote films, you're quoting comedies.
Yeah.
You know, that's the film you're quoting. And obviously comedy is so subjective. You know, one person can hate it, one person can love it. As like when you're sitting in like a drama, you don't know if anybody's loving it. The comedy, if you're laughing, you're laughing. And it's like part of that challenge makes it even more appealing to me. And on top of that, it's like there's not really comedies that hit hard these days, unfortunately. It's like there's such a void in the market. And like I feel like it's a challenge, an additional challenge to just try to like, fill that void with better material. Because right now it's just all trash.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
What
And that's why
happened? You know?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
like,
I mean, and that's why,
really?
honestly, when your film came up for me to watch, I was obviously skeptical. I was like, "The fuck is this?" But then, like watching it, I'm like, "This is hilarious." I haven't seen anything like this in years. That's like, there's just no holds barred. Like, no one gives a shit. Like, and I love that because people are scared to make films that are like that. To go out to that raunchy extent or whatever. And I love it. I know the three of us love that shit. I mean, I'm just like, I'm not speaking just for myself, but so congrats on that. I mean,
Thank you.
I mean,
I think there's too many people are like afraid of like other people being afraid. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I was curious to know on your end, do you remember that first like comedy you watched that you're like, fuck, I need to do this?
Yeah, I do. I would say a huge motivation for me was Wet Hot American Summer.
Very good choice.
Love Wet Hot American Summer. Like I remember watching that for the first time. I was in college when I watched it for the first time. I was like, this is unbelievable. Like I love the absurdist and dry humor. And I think David Wayne is unbelievable. And then obviously the series that came out was unbelievable. As a lot of people know after watching, even though I didn't do so many things that were highly absurdist, but like Tim and Eric is a huge inspiration of mine. I grew up watching Tim and Eric. But if like if we're just talking about one film, 100% Wet Hot. Obviously Airplane also, it's like very much like similar in terms of a lot of different stories, one narrative, one location, but that's like the OG. But if we're going to hone it in a little bit, Wet Hot, 100%.
Amazing. For me, I mean, not for me, sorry, but like, guys, do you have any other questions?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's more, I like the fact that it was kind of like super nostalgic, just the way it was presented and the way it was shot. Like
the way it was shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it had that like VHS, feel. It had just when they were putting the tape in and it came out, you immediately connect with it.
Yeah.
Because that has happened to fucking everybody, that you put it in and it does, and you just you're fighting. It was just the way it started. I was like, okay. But when Johnny sent me the link, I was like, okay, Donny's Bar Mitzvah. What the fuck are we watching?
Yeah, you're skeptical, just like
yeah. I was like, okay, like, and I saw the movie poster. I'm like, okay, it looks the movie poster looks.
The poster's great, by the way.
Yeah, the poster's great. So I'm like,
awesome.
Like, what are we getting into? And then I saw that, and I saw like the whole VHS library. I'm like, okay. And the second it starts, I knew that it was going to take off into unknown territory. The second, one of the characters, the couple gets out of the Ferrari, and they're like, oh, you could take her for a ride, and I'm, like you can do whatever you want to her, and you can park the car too. Like whatever he said, he was just talking about his wife, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Like it felt like it was gonna be like a slow burn kind of before we get into it, but it was fucking like instantaneous.
Yeah.
I love it.
You managed to get so much in such a short run time, which
Yeah.
is what I really loved.
Yeah.
Like you could have done, what nowadays comedies are like 2 hours or whatever. Like you could have done a whole full blown like 120 minutes of like it, and it just drawn out, but everything was so concise in the time that you had. Originally, was the film that short or was it a bit longer?
So, first of all, I love a good short film. Everybody goes on Netflix and everybody goes on Hulu and they're searching for the perfect film to watch. And they're like, oh, 2 hours. I can't do 2 hours.
Yeah.
But if you find like a film that's an hour 20, hour 18, like you're way more inclined to click it. And it's also just like a quick watch. It's not too much of an investment and they move. So that's kind of like was the sweet spot that I was hoping to achieve, that hour, under an hour and a half for sure, but closer to an hour and 20. I had a editor that was on board to begin with, and he edited the film, and the first version of the film was unwatchable. All right, it was unwatchable, and it was 2 hours long. And I was like, this is not the film that I shot. This is not the film I wanted to make. A lot of creative differences that him and I had. We ended up parting ways, and I found a new editor that is the editor of the film, completely understood the material, very, very talented individual. And like him and I crafted that, like whole idea was like, we wanted it to be relentless. There's a lot of scenes and just very quick, very fast. You're in a scene, you're out of the scene.
Yeah.
You're in a scene, you're out of the scene. It's just kind of like going from one to the next to the next. So it never really slows down, and it's quick. And like you start the movie, you end the movie, and it just kind of feels like it flew by.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. I mean, I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah, and you're kind of left wanting more. You're like
100%. That's why I'm like, is there a fucking sequel? I don't know what's happening.
the first time I watched the credits in a movie.
What do you think of that last scene?
Oh,
The ending credit.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking.
it's so good.
Yeah, that was great. Everything. I mean, it was pretty. It was
It was perfect to watch while I was drying my floor.
Oh, the excessiveness. Jonathan, you mentioned you're in New York, correct?
I'm based in LA, but I'm currently in New York for like a week.
Okay, is shit open there? Because us here in Canada, nothing's open. So.
No, I mean, because in New York, it's like fake open. There's like basically what they did is they built a lot of stuff on the streets, like right next to the restaurant, so that it's outdoor dining and like a lot of people can eat there. But as soon as you have a table, and even if it's like what a lot of bars did, that were just bars, and even like tasting rooms. Now they serve cheese, right? And the cheese might literally just be Laughing Cow. You just Laughing Cow cheese. You're buying it for $5, so that it's now food because you can't drink at a table without actually technically buying food. Otherwise, so it's a lot of loophole and gray. But as of right now, everything is closed at 11, like hard. Which New York usually. Nothing closes until
never.
So that's the biggest difference. But like, it's just kind of been like hanging.
All the bars became strip clubs. You got to buy at least a bottle of water.
and that's why we had our karaoke night.
Oh man.
Yeah. So tell us about that. So what did you do? You created your own karaoke night?
So it's funny. Basically, I came from LA. Like one of the things that I do just kind of like as a hobby on my off time is I do like live looping with music. And I knew that I was going to have like a downtime this week, and I just kind of wanted to like relax and do a little bit of live looping. So I grabbed all my equipment, which is like in like a nice suitcase that I built out, and brought it here. And within that equipment, I have a microphone and I've got a speaker, and we were all like looking for something to do. And I was like thinking, I'm like, hey, like I have the tools, we can have a karaoke night.
There's that connect the dots scenes. You look at the speaker, you look at the microphone.
We did like a little karaoke department. It was a good time.
That's like, what's your go-to karaoke song?
I've got two go-tos. All right. It depends on like the vibe. If I'm like feeling like white boy wasted, I go My Own Worst Enemy by Lit. You know.
Oh yes,
wow.
yes.
And I'm like trying to like flaunt a little bit, you know, like a little bit, like show that I can rap, I can sing, I know the lyrics. I Want to Love You by Akon. That's a little bit of everything, you know. I gotta. What's up?
Holy
What?
shit.
I was not expecting
I
Akon
was
to
not.
come into this episode, but he's
Comic
here now.
music.
Yeah, that's how it is.
The
Yo.
best songs are the ones that like people aren't expecting, but like still very much know, right?
Yeah.
You go on the mic and you toss on Still Fly by Big Timers, you're gonna get a great result, right?
What do you?
Success.
How are you? How's the difference between, like you said, you're based in LA? So how's the difference between LA and New York right now? Like,
Because
how's
shit's
that
still closed in
going?
LA, right?
Yeah,
California's
like
not open.
Yeah, basically, I know like stuff is in the process of opening.
Mhm.
There's some indoor dining, obviously outdoor dining. It's just really just like going out to dinner and getting drinks, but there's no like bar life at
Right.
all,
Okay.
you know? So it's like, hey, do I want to spend a lot of money and just like get a drink and dinner and then just go home, or just stay home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
So I would say it's still slow. I feel like it's slowly but surely opening up. I'm like hoping, obviously, yeah, hopefully by summer things will be better.
Yeah, that's our goal here too.
That's so
You know
much
what I
better
mean?
than what we have here. We
yeah.
literally have nothing happening here.
Yeah, nothing's
Yeah.
happening. Just a curfew at 8 p.m. for some reason. And
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. We don't want to talk about
So
that shit.
work and go home.
Yeah, work and go home. essentially.
literally work, fight at a grocery store because the lineups are huge, and go
Mhm.
home.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know, like, look, you came over last night, Jad. The tacos that I was making.
Yep.
I cooked those those tortillas just a bit too much that we had to get the pita bread out. I'm not gonna be able to
Pita
run
bread.
to a grocery store. It's gonna take me like 3 hours.
They became gyros.
Yeah,
Euros.
we
you know?
came here. I was
So,
exactly.
Jonathan, are you working on anything currently that you can speak about, or in your pipeline, or like what's like passion
On the
project?
horizons.
Yeah. I guess I've got a couple films I've been working on. You know, I always try to like, you know, keep the juices going. I've got one bigger budget film. And when I say bigger budget, I mean like maybe like a $3 million film.
All right.
Sub $1 million film. And then also another one that I've been writing that's also just really low budget, just because it's nice to have the flexibility to like be able to potentially raise the money yourself, and try to make the film. And hopefully, you know, Donny's keeps, you know, getting press successes and
Yeah.
yada yada, and I'll be able to leverage that. But
The
so that,
Robert Rodriguez School of
on.
Filming.
Yeah.
all of them still really crazy. I comedies. You know, just one of them is like basically just a sneak peek would be like, imagine the movie Big, you know, with Tom Hanks, but in current day with 3 12-year-olds.
Take my money.
Yeah.
And it all plays out in real time. Like what would really happen if all of a sudden 3 12-year-olds turned into like 55-year-old men?
Oh,
Oh,
So
shit.
that's something I'm working on right now, which is super fun. I've got some short films that I've written that I'm planning on shooting in June. That's going to be really cool and fun. But like, yeah, just always working, grinding, just
Good.
trying to put out more stuff.
I feel like you'd make a great horror movie, like a comedic horror movie. I feel like you'd kill that.
A lot of blood.
Club Dread.
Yeah. I feel like that would be awesome. Just because of the projectile stuff I saw in this movie. I feel like all you would need is that like really fake, you know, the chop off a head and just blood everywhere. It would
Very like B movie.
Yeah.
B movie. And if you want Tom to do some sound effects, he could do that too.
I
Yeah.
can do it. He's got the spritz.
Yeah. If you need me to like be a Windex bottle,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like just a
You've been practicing that one.
yeah.
Oh my God. Jonathan, thank you so much for taking the time to be on Snobcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
We're like we said, we love film and we love supporting the little films, and if we can get more people to watch this movie, it's fucking hilarious. Again, Donny's Bar Mitzvah, you could stream it, you can buy it online.
You could do it all.
you could do it all. I mean, and go watch it because it's really funny, and then go follow their Instagram page because it's pretty random and funny as well.
Yeah, they've been doing some weird stuff on there.
So I mean, thank you so much, Jonathan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chef, Hype Man, Snob. Really appreciate you guys having me.
Really appreciate you, man. And that concludes this week's episode of Snobcast.